Hi, everybody. This is Slava Kurilak. I am super excited for you to join me on this live stream where we discuss how to increase revenue using AI technologies. I am the founder, CEO at Produvia, where I partner with companies around the world to develop the latest AI technologies in order to help companies generate more revenue. I will share with you some of the best practices that I find today, how companies around the world are leveraging AI technologies, how they're able to crush their competition and generate massive wealth for everyone. So I want to start by reminding that this is a live stream, and if you are interested, feel free to leave a comment in the section below, and I am more than happy to answer your specific question. I welcome everyone to say hi, where you're from, and I am excited to get started. This live stream will be interactive. This live stream will aim to educate and inspire you on how to leverage AI technology to crush revenue. I will share with you my screen, and on the screen you will see some of the ideas that I have that are very useful in thinking and framing yourself around the idea of how you leverage technology to solve business problems. And I'll get started by doing a screen share. Hopefully everyone will see what I see. And the goal here is simply to share with you a webinar that I created, and I hopefully this works on your side. So let's do this. Let me do a screen share now. Screen share. And you should see side by side. This is sort of the context to where we begin today. Our discussion is about using AI technology to generate revenue. But first, I want to start with the question, why AI? Why this? Why now? AI technology is one of the leading technologies today that companies are using. And so we must look at the numbers first before we dive deeper into the question of revenue generation. And the numbers are quite astonishing today. In 2020, amid COVID-19, this market size for AI technology alone is approximately 62 billion American dollars, right? This number is projected to grow by 42% in the next 7 years, reaching $733 billion. Let's think about this, right? This number is massively able to generate revenue for companies who are using this technology. The real opportunity with AI technology comes from two aspects, right? One, we're able to generate insights based on the present. That's where we understand the present. And the second is where we're able to predict the future, right? These are elements that AI technology is very well suited to address. And having said that, this gives us the context to get started, to apply the technology and see how we can use it to generate revenue. So it brings me to the first sort of use case, or the first application of being able to tackle revenue generation. The mindset here that I want you to consider is that we are aiming to generate revenue by solving specific business problems, right? And through this approach, we're indirectly generating revenue. So we're not going head to head with revenue. We're going sort of sideways. We're battling other business problems that companies face today. And in this process, we're able to generate massive wealth. So let's talk about the first use case, the first way that companies are using AI to generate wealth. And that is understanding of the customer intent. This is critical, right? Customer intent simply means we understand what the customer wants, right? We understand what the customer needs. the intent of the customer is what do they want at any given moment while they're interacting with the brand, while they're having a sort of discussion, if you were, a relationship with the brand. The intent is critical for any company to understand because it allows them to then offer solutions to what the customer wants, right? Imagine we're dealing in the healthcare industry and the customer wants a solution for COVID-19, right? Now, if we know that intent, we can have a better solution. We can offer a better service to our customers, right? So the intent is critical. And any company today who's interested to crush revenue, they must understand the customer's needs, the customer's wants, right? And how are companies doing this, right? There are actually many ways to accomplish this, right? First way involves simply gathering data about its customers and using that data to understand what the customer is doing, right? So the first step is gathering data. The next step is labeling that data in such a way that we teach systems or computers to understand behavior. If we understand behavior, now we can better understand what the intention is. For example, imagine a marketing company understands how people click through a website, how they view products, what pages they visit on an e-commerce website. If we understand the behaviors or the clicks, the time spent on page, now we can better understand what they want. Do they want to shop? Do they want to ask a question? If they want to shop, perhaps we need to develop a solution where we're aiming to optimize for the customer experience and give them a better customer experience through that intention. Perhaps the user intent is to ask a text, or in next level, you can predict the intent of the customer, of the individual who's paying the company money, then we can better offer them the solution that we need. So the first step is to recognize the intent and being able to predict it. I remind everyone who joins this live stream that this is an interactive session. If you have a question, feel free to ask. I am more than happy to address your questions and see if we can solve revenue generation together. So let's move forward and go over the second application of AI technology in the revenue generation equation, and that is offering customer recommendations, right? So the first step was understanding what the customer wants, and we can do this by creating supervised learning models where we teach computers on behavioral data of the customer. Now we're extending and we're offering something that allows the customer to get even more value from the business. Now we're offering them some sort of recommendation, some sort of insight that allows them to be even more connected to the brand. So this differs from industry to industry, and short of me going over a single example from every industry, I'll just pick a few examples that I think will drive home and hit a home run for this example. The question is, how can we offer recommendations for our customers? Well, one idea is to offer, for example, similar products or similar services as the customer is going through a user experience, right? So imagine it's a customer and they're on Amazon website, and Amazon wants to upsell products or services. Now they can use recommendation systems. They can use models that have been trained through behavioral data and through intent data, and now they're able to offer recommendation for what they should buy next, or what they can buy at any given moment. Recommendation systems are one of the best technologies, the best algorithms to solve these types of problems. They're able to offer suggestions to customers at the right time. Usually this is done in real time. Usually this is done based on creating personas of similar types of customers, right? So AI technologies can offer recommendations if the customers are segmented into groups, are sort of grouped into different types of data buckets whereby the system learns the differences between the customer. If, for example, an AI system is able to detect that one clustering of data is whereby it is aiming to for example, it's noticing that individuals are primarily women, they're primarily between the age of 30 and 40. Another data cluster may reveal that you have a different customer segment of perhaps elderly men between the ages of 40 and 50, right? And segmentation is one of the use cases or examples of how you would create a system necessary to achieve a recommendation system. The first step is to understand the customer, who they are, where they are in their sort of the customer journey. And the next step is to offer them a recommendation that allows them to derive value. So perhaps they're on an app, perhaps they're on a website, and now they're able to receive a recommendation for a specific service or product, right? So suggested products or services is one example for the e-commerce space. But it can be more advanced than that, right? So imagine it's a customer who is engaging with a media company, and they're now able to offer recommendations for what they should do with their media. Perhaps it's a user who is using some sort of social network. Now recommendation systems can now be used to suggest what is the most optimal filter, what is the most optimal setting to use, what are the most optimal keywords, hashtags. All this information acts as valuable data that companies are now able to leverage and offer insights for their customers. So the first use case was being able to understand and predict customer intent. The second use case is being able to offer real-time recommendations for customers. These recommendation systems are often created using neural networks. And here we're simply aiming to gather enough data about customers and offer them recommendations, offer them some sort of insight as they're going through an experience. So this is the second use case of AI technology. And I encourage everyone who joins this live stream to ask questions, to make comments. I am more than happy to address your questions in the comment section below. So feel free to jump in, and we are more than happy to discuss your specific use case. In the meanwhile, I do want to remind everyone that AI technology is a tool, and it's a tool like any other. It is able to solve very complex, very difficult problems when there is enough creativity applied, when there is enough intention applied to the process. And part of what I do as sort of the day-to-day life is I often spend time talking to companies, talking to individuals at different corporations who are interested to use AI technology and solve a specific business problem. And so, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis. I brainstorm, I research, I develop AI technologies to solve business problems. So if you are interested to have a conversation with me, feel free to leave a comment, and I'm more than happy to address it. In the meanwhile, I will continue forward, and we will now talk about the third way how you can increase revenue, how you can crush revenue using AI technology. And that is to save your customers time. Time is the infinite yet most definite resource we have. Infinite from the perspective we often don't give it as much attention as we should or need to. And finite in that time is but a river that flows by. We pay attention to it, but if we're able to save our customers time, now we are able to give them value that is far beyond what they're able to achieve elsewhere. And so how does AI technology help with being able to save customer time? AI technology is really a technology that understands the present and predicts the future. So if in the present, the individual, the customer is spending, for example, 10 minutes to create a video, and the company that offers a video creation service is able to cut that in half, right? They're able to cut 50% on the video creation time. How much value would that bring to a company? How much value would the customer gain by being able to create a video in half the time, right? This is the third best way that AI technology is able to save sort of company from dealing with revenue problems, because they're able to save their customers time. Again, the approach here is to go indirectly and solve specific problems so that revenue by the company rather is increased holistically. And saving time is one sort of approach here, is to understand what the customer is doing today and see how the company can optimize the current process, right? Here, again, we're looking at, we're using data science techniques to understand what the customer is doing. We're visualizing that data over time to better classify that individual customer as it relates to others. And now we have an opportunity to apply deep learning. Now we have an opportunity to apply neural networks to figure out how we can save them time. Usually time savings come from automation solutions. So think of solutions that in the past used to be done by people. Now they're done by AI technology or automated systems. So being able to save time is usually done by a fully automated or a semi-automated solution, right? Something that used to take, for example, an individual a day or an hour to take, now is done by computers in an hour or in a minute, right? Or perhaps it's done in real time. So being able to save customers' time translates directly into revenue. So this is the third very powerful use case of how you would generate revenue using AI. In this case, you simply need customer data. You need to generate data, and that data must be optimized around understanding what the customer is doing today. And the next extension of that is being able to predict what they will do next, right? And here again, we can use things like time series modeling, predictive modeling, to be able to figure out what the customer will do next or what they should do next. Saving them time allows companies to generate massive wealth using AI technology. So this is the third use case that I would like to mention on this live stream. But I do want to emphasize that AI technology, like a tool, can solve very, very specific problems. And while this live stream is meant to share just a few of the high-level sort of approaches that I see companies taking today, AI technology is very powerful in solving very specific problems. And the more accurate that AI systems get, usually it's the result of more data. So I encourage everyone who is listening on this live stream, who is interested to use AI technology, to think about where your data is today. Are you storing it in any specific database? What does that data look like? What type of data do you have? The more data you're able to generate, usually the more data you're able to use and create AI solutions as the result. The more that data is filtered or cleaned or labeled, if you were, the better that AI systems work. And so the data really is one of the key requirements for AI technologies, and the second being capital. So if you do have data, if you do have capital, then this is the perfect time to use AI technology and increase revenue and save customers time. So I am also looking forward to discussing the fourth way that AI technology can be used to generate revenue, which is to save your company time. Right now, we're sort of moving past this idea of how can we focus on the customer. Now the focus shifts on the company, right? And being able to focus on the customer is amazing because now it generates revenue, and that is being very proactive. Now we're shifting focus on the internal processes, right? We're shifting focus on what are you doing at your company that is sort of being able to save you time, right? And there are very different ways of thinking about this. One very common approach is to to perform what's called a complete automation. The second approach is to do augmentation. So we have automation and augmentation. Both approaches are very powerful in saving time. Both approaches are very successful and they're used by companies around the world. So if an individual is interested to apply AI technologies to save their company time, then they can now start to think, what can I automate fully? And if they're not able to automate it fully, what can I augment, or how can I help the individual worker to do their job better and faster? Being able to give a worker, a frontline employee, the tool they need, the information they need, the insight, the recommendation they need, means that the company is able to generate more revenue than if they did not have that information, right? Imagine how much value each employee would have if they had just the right information at the right time. So this is where recommendation systems are also very powerful, right? Being able to offer the right piece of information at the right time is how recommendation systems work. Predictive models are now able to predict, similarly to what we've seen in being able to predict customer intent. Now we can also use predictive models to better understand what is the worker intent, what does the worker want, what is the worker or employee or sort of company team member, what do they need? And if we can understand those needs using predictive modeling, if we can use neural networks to figure this out, now we're able to save company time. So I'll share with you a few examples, and hopefully that gives a little bit more concrete sort of scenarios to how you can think about time. AI technology is best applied when there is data, right? So now you're looking at around, you're asking your teammates, you're asking your coworkers, how do you spend your time? And if you can figure out how the individual spends their time, this is an opportunity for you to ask them, can this process, can this task be done by a computer? Can this task be automated by computer? And if the answer is yes, then this is the perfect way that companies are now able to leverage AI technologies to save time. And if we're thinking about the task, everything becomes easier. Again, if we're not aiming to fully automate the individual's responsibilities, if we're aiming to automate rather the individual's tasks, now we're able to give them sort of the most meaningful information, which is being able to say to them, hey, there's a better way to do this. Maybe you can focus your time on something else. And if you're saving that employee, that worker time, now they can bring more value, they can bring more creativity into the company. So how would a company be able to save time using AI technologies? Well, if a company is automating tasks, this is the perfect way to save time. And what is a task? Let's break this down. Let's give you a few more concrete examples. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. Hopefully this brings more value than sort of being holistic thinking. So a task, a computer task, really is aiming to solve one problem at a time. So let's think about this. Let's say that we are a aerospace industry or airline industry, and we're aiming to leverage weather data to understand how we need to plan our travels, how we need to respond due to COVID-19, right? So now we have various factors like the weather or COVID. Now we need to understand what we need to do as an industry, right? So imagine we're dealing with lots of data. That data perhaps is coming in from a satellite station, from different recordings, from on-site reports of COVID sightings. Now we're able to use that data and ask ourselves, what insight can we generate from this? So imagine a task in this use case is being able to understand the different types of imagery that are recorded around the world as it relates to different weather stations, right? Imagine you're looking at a screenshot of a specific moment in time, and that moment perhaps is the weather condition, it's perhaps the flying conditions, it's perhaps sort of the population as it relates to movement. Now, if you're able to analyze that task, the task that we need to solve is something called image classification. And let's speak a little bit more technical. I know I've been sharing with you lots of different high-level examples, but I do want to give you a little bit more tangible sort of use cases of AI technology here. So imagine we're aiming to better understand visual imagery, and the task that we can perform to save the company time is to perform something called image classification or semantic segmentation, right? This is the most finite, the most definite way that we can bring value and we can create systems that are using data. Is we simply aim to understand what's in the picture, and we also aim to understand what are the bounds to the objects within that picture. Perhaps we notice a person, perhaps we notice a bird, perhaps we notice foggy conditions. All this information is useful, and all this information can be automatically analyzed using AI technologies, using computer vision techniques, whereby we're aiming to solve image classification or semantic segmentation. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight to how you would use AI technology to be able to save company time. Again, I remind everyone who joins this live stream, this is an interactive live stream. I highly encourage you to ask a question. Feel free to leave a comment in the section below or on the side, and I am more than happy to address it further. To move forward, I do want to mention that there are many ways to generate revenue, and I'm simply sharing some of the best practices that I see companies use today. So the fifth use case that I see is being able to reduce company expenses. This is a great way that companies are able to save on costs, and by saving in costs, they're indirectly able to generate revenue, right? It's a balancing equation, right? You save one, and then the other sort of is leveraged in the process, right? If we're able to save company costs, and this is how we can leverage AI technology. So think about the perspective of, if today we hire a team of 10 individuals and each one of them is demanding a salary of $50,000, we're literally paying $100,000 to perform a specific task, right? So now imagine an AI solution that is able to achieve the same task, is able to sort of get to the end goal with half the price, right? Now we've reduced company expenses by 50%, and now the company no longer has to spend $500,000. They can now spend $250,000, and they're able to derive similar, if not better, value. So the next question then becomes, why even use AI technology? Like, what is the benefit of replacing specific tasks, automating specific responsibilities, using AI technology? And this is now holistic thinking, and I do want to bring your attention to the fact that AI technology at its core is using certain data-based algorithms, and it's giving you exactly what you want. It's giving you some sort of an insight that you would make yourself. It's giving you the ability to perform a task better and faster, right? And now you have the freedom to do something else, right? So AI technology, it's changing how we view value, how we view value generation, because it's able to free us from often the most tedious, boring, and repetitive tasks. AI technologies are able to give us a hope for a more fruitful, for more wealthy future, but it always starts with the end in mind. So I do want to emphasize that AI technology at its core is a technology that is solving specific business problems, right? So if you're aiming to solve, for example, being able to understand, let's say, customer intent, then AI would be how you would do that. You would develop systems, models to be able to understand what the user wants, what the customer wants at any given time. So AI technology comes in after we have established the business goal. So I highly encourage everyone who is listening, who is joining this live stream, to think, what do I want to achieve? And let's say it's income generation, revenue generation. Then the question then arises, what data do you have? And this is an opportunity to be creative. This is an opportunity to brainstorm ideas for how AI technology can be applied, right? There are many domains that AI technology can help with, right? Each industry faces their own challenges, but I do want to bring your attention to several technologies that are very, very well adopted today. First being computer vision. Computer vision is the first, or the biggest rather, technology that companies are using today to generate revenue, right? Companies are analyzing imagery and video data better, and this analysis and this foresight is giving them the opportunity to offer better products and services. So the first way that companies are using AI technology to generate revenue is using computer vision technologies. The second way that I see, the second technology, is natural language processing. NLP for short is today predominantly applied to better understand written language. However, now companies are pouring millions, sometimes billions of dollars to understand the verbal language as well. So using NLP, using natural language processing, is the second way companies are applying AI technologies today. So the third way that I see companies are leveraging AI is they are creating what is considered a supervised learning model. So let's break this down. Computer vision aims to understand imagery and video. Natural language processing aims to understand the spoken and written word. And supervised learning, sometimes synonymously used with deep learning, are where most companies are deriving value today. And they're able to generate revenue by usually creating curated data sets that are able to create a link between the data and what the company wants to do with that data, right? So supervised learning is a technique used to teach system to learn from data. The supervised learning techniques or deep learning models are learning from inputs and outputs of data. And so the companies that are most successful today are those that are using deep learning, sometimes called supervised learning models, to generate revenue. The fourth technology that I see companies using today to generate revenue is something called generative models. Generative models, sometimes referred to as generative adversarial networks, or GANs, autoencoders. These are just a few examples of this technology. Generative models are extremely powerful, and not just to understand what's happening in the context where we have labeled inputs and outputs, but also to create new data from scratch, right? Generative models are an excellent way to explore and create something that did not exist before. Generative models are the fourth way that companies are using AI technology. And again, the goal is to be able to detect what is the customer's intent, be able to make recommendations, being able to save company time, being able to save company expenses. So these are the five ways that companies are indirectly solving revenue generation, and the sort of four major ways that companies are using the technology, again, is computer vision, natural language processing, deep learning, and you also have generative models. And these are few insights that I hope will give you lots of value. Again, this is a touch point. This is a point that allows you to move forward. If you have a question as it relates to any specific algorithm or method that I've mentioned on this live stream, please feel free to comment, and I'm more than happy to address it. And I want to bring this live stream to a conclusion. I want to remind everyone that we live in a time when COVID-19 is creating massive disruption for the world, right? This is the time when companies must get together, they must collaborate, and they must fight COVID-19. And when they're not fighting COVID-19, I believe the next biggest goal of any company today is to generate revenue, to increase revenue and crush their competition. This is the only way companies are able to not just survive, but thrive amid COVID-19. Being able to create revenue, being able to use AI technologies to accomplish this is, from my perspective, one of the best ways to accomplish this. Creating revenue is a necessary goal. A lot of companies must achieve this in order to survive and thrive. And so the question then arises, what do you want to do? Do you want to increase revenue? If that's your ultimate vision, then you need to think, how can this be done? And this live stream hopefully gives you value and insight to some of the ways to think about AI technology. I remind you that this process does take time, creativity does take time, and I'm more than happy to spend the time with you and so we can solve these problems together. What is the final thought on this live stream is that I encourage you to schedule a brief 50 minutes discovery call with me, or we can talk one-on-one. We can do a video call and discuss how we will leverage AI technologies to solve your business problems, right? This is the time. It's time to act today. If you're not fighting COVID-19, you need to crush revenue. You need to crush your competition. This is the moment. And AI technology is the best technology we have today because it's simply leveraging the data to understand what's going on in the present and to make predictions into the future. AI is the most revolutionary technology we have today, and I am super excited to do this live stream because I believe it can change the world. I believe this technology can solve real business problems, and I highly encourage you to schedule a brief phone call with me. What I'll do now is I will simply leave you a comment, and you can feel free to click on the link, and the link will show you the way that you would go about scheduling a brief call with me. And again, the goal here is to share insights. I hope I have done that. I hope I have given you a chance to understand how to increase revenue using AI technologies. Here's again a brief recap of what we went through and being able to understand customer intent, being able to offer them recommendations, being able to understand where they spend their time, save you time, and save you costs. These are just a few ways that AI technologies can help. I am super excited that you joined me on this live stream. I hope I see you next time, and I am looking forward to our upcoming live stream. If you're interested to be part of the journey of how you adopt AI, how you transform AI in your company, I want you to hit the bell icon and subscribe to my channel. And this is an important way that you can stay up to date and you can get notified when I go live next, when I schedule my next live streams. I am looking forward to chatting with you next time. Thanks very much for taking the time to listen, and I look forward to hearing from you.